Hi ladies, let's address something important right here, right now. You're not losing him because you care too much. You're losing him because you've stopped being the prize. This might sound harsh, but here's the truth that nobody tells you. Chasing him isn't the answer. The harder you pursue, the less he values your presence. Why? Because people, especially men, are hardwired to respond to challenges and scarcity. When something feels too easy, too predictable, or always available, it's human nature to take it for granted. But here's the exciting part. There's a way to flip the script completely. Today, we're diving deep into what happens when you detach from him. This isn't about playing games or manipulating someone into loving you. It's about stepping into your power, reclaiming your confidence, and creating a dynamic where he's the one who realizes he needs you. It's a lesson rooted in the timeless principles of Stoicism, a philosophy that has helped people master their emotions and regain control for centuries. By the time you finish reading this, you'll understand how detachment isn't about losing something. It's about gaining everything: your self-worth, your freedom, and yes, even the ability to make him crave your attention again. Stick with me, because the secrets I'm about to share could completely change the way you approach love, life, and relationships. Are you ready to stop feeling like an option and start being the prize? Let's get into it. Here's a question to think about. Why do we feel the need to chase someone who's pulling away? It's a natural reaction, isn't it? When someone we care about starts to drift, our instinct tells us to close the gap, send that extra text, ask them what's wrong, to do whatever it takes to remind them how good they had it with us. But let's flip that perspective. What happens when you stop chasing, when you detach from him? You send a message. Not to him, but to yourself. That message is, I am enough, whether he chooses me or not. This isn't about walking away in anger. It's about stepping into your own power and showing that your world doesn't revolve around anyone who doesn't fully see your worth. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how someone seems more attractive the moment they stop being so available? When they have their own life, their own passions, their own glow that doesn't depend on anyone else. That is what detachment gives you. It's the glow of independence, the allure of mystery, and the quiet strength that comes from knowing you don't need anyone else to complete you. This is where the ancient wisdom of Stoicism comes into play. Stoics taught that true power comes from controlling what we can and letting go of what we can't. When you detach, you let go of the need to control his actions, his feelings, or his attention. And in doing so, you regain control over the one thing that truly matters: yourself. Imagine this. Instead of worrying about why he hasn't texted back, you're out living your life, hitting the gym, mastering a new skill, or diving into a passion project that sets your soul on fire. Instead of anxiously scrolling through his social media, you're so busy building your empire that you barely notice he hasn't posted. That is the kind of energy that not only transforms your life, but also makes you irresistible. Because here's the thing, men are naturally drawn to women who know their worth. When you detach, you shift the power dynamic. Suddenly, you're not the one wondering if he'll come back. He's the one wondering how to get your attention. Again. But let me be clear. Detachment isn't about punishing him or pretending not to care. It's about showing, through your actions, that you don't need to beg for anyone's validation. It's about embracing the love Stoic mindset, focusing on your own growth, your own happiness, and your own peace of mind, no matter what someone else does. So here's your first challenge. The next time you feel the urge to chase him, stop. Take a deep breath and remind yourself that detachment isn't about losing him. It's about finding you. And trust me, when you do, he'll notice. Are you ready to keep going? Because in the next part, we're diving into the fear that keeps most women stuck, the fear of losing him, and how to overcome it once and for all. Stay tuned, because the best is yet to come. Let's get real for a moment. What makes us so afraid of stepping back? Why does the thought of losing him send a jolt of panic through your heart, making you second-guess everything? What if he moves on? What if he never comes back? What if I lose him to someone else? These thoughts can feel overwhelming, even paralyzing. But here's the truth. This fear isn't real. It's a story you've been telling yourself. Society has conditioned us to believe that if we're not constantly proving ourselves, we'll be forgotten. That if we're not chasing, we'll miss out. But let's pause and ask an important question. What kind of man do you truly want in your life? Do you want someone who values you because you're always available, or someone who sees your worth even when you're standing still? The fear of losing him is nothing more than a projection of insecurity. That insecurity comes from forgetting one essential truth. You are the prize. Repeat that to yourself right now. I am the prize. You don't need to chase, beg, or prove your value to anyone. A man who's genuinely worth your time and energy will never make you feel like you have to fight for his attention. And if he does, that's not love. That's a power imbalance. Detachment, in this case, is your shield. It's the antidote to fear. When you step back, you're not telling him, I don't care. You're telling yourself, I care about me more. And let me tell you, that kind of confidence is magnetic. When you're not afraid to walk away, you send a powerful message. You're not someone who can be taken for granted. You're someone worth holding on to. But let's talk about what happens when you detach and overcome this fear. At first, it might feel terrifying. You'll worry he'll forget you, move on, or replace you with someone else. But think logically. If he's the kind of man who replaces you the moment you stop chasing, is he really the kind of man you want? If the answer is no, then what are you truly afraid of losing? Detachment allows you to see his true colors. If he values you, he'll step up. He'll notice your absence, realize what you brought into his life, and work to earn it back. If he doesn't, then you've just saved yourself from investing in someone who didn't deserve you in the first place. Either way, detachment is a win-win. But here's the twist. Detachment isn't just about him. It's about you. It's about stepping into your own power and understanding that your happiness doesn't hinge on someone else's approval. When you let go of the fear of losing him, you gain something far greater. Your freedom. Freedom from overthinking. Freedom from wondering if you're enough. Freedom from feeling like you have to prove yourself. You reclaim your peace, your joy, and your ability to focus on what truly matters. Your goals, your passions, your people. That's the beauty of detachment. It doesn't just transform your relationships, it transforms you. Now, let's take a moment to visualize this. Imagine you've stopped chasing him. You're not anxiously waiting for his texts or decoding his every move. Instead, you're focused on your own journey, hitting the gym, advancing in your career, spending time with friends, and diving into hobbies that make you come alive. How does that feel? Powerful, right? That's the energy we're talking about. Energy that changes the game and makes you irresistible. Men are drawn to women who exude confidence and self-assuredness. When you show you're fine on your own, you're not just reclaiming power, you're making him wonder, how can I be part of her life again? And here's the best part. Overcoming this fear isn't as hard as it seems. It starts with one simple mindset shift. Instead of asking, what if I lose him? Ask yourself, What if I gain myself? Because when you detach, you're not losing him. You're gaining clarity, strength, and the ability to attract someone who truly deserves you. If this resonates, like this video and comment 1 below. Let me know you're ready to stop chasing and start living in your power. And don't forget to subscribe. We're building a community of confident, empowered women who are taking control of their lives and relationships. Stay tuned, because in the next section, we're diving into how personal growth changes everything. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Picture this. While he's sitting there, oblivious to your shift in energy, you're not waiting around. This is the time when you truly step into your power, and it starts with reinvesting in you. Focusing on personal growth is more than just a strategy. It's a way to reclaim your worth and remind yourself that your happiness doesn't depend on anyone else. Imagine that, instead of replaying old conversations or checking your phone every 5 minutes, you're hitting the gym, working on your career, or diving back into hobbies that light you up. Every moment you spend on yourself strengthens your confidence, presence, and energy. And that kind of transformation doesn't just affect you, it affects how everyone sees you, including him. Think about it. What happens when he sees you glowing, thriving, and completely focused on your goals? He'll notice the shift. Men are drawn to women who exude independence, ambition, and self-assuredness. When you're not clinging to his attention but instead pouring that energy into your own growth, you become magnetic. But let's be clear, this isn't about trying to impress him or anyone else. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, because you deserve it. It's about embracing the Stoic mindset of controlling what you can and letting go of what you can't. When you focus on your personal growth, you're exercising this principle fully, taking charge of your time, energy, and potential, and refusing to waste them on external outcomes you can't control. Here's the real beauty of this transformation. It's not just about him noticing, it's about how you see yourself. As you grow, you realize you don't need to chase anyone. You're too busy building your empire to worry about his attention. That's where true confidence lies, and it's where real attraction thrives. When you're living your best life, radiating confidence, showing you have passions and goals of your own, he'll start to wonder why you're not as available. He might even question how he fits into your world now. But whether he notices or not becomes secondary, because the more you invest in your own growth, the less you'll care about the outcome. Your self-worth will no longer be tied to his actions. This is what it means to embrace love stoicism. Focusing on your growth, letting go of what you can't control, and thriving in the life you create. And when you do, you're not just detaching from him, you're attaching to yourself. If you're ready to start this journey, like this video and comment 1 below. Let me know you're ready to step into your power. Don't forget to subscribe, because there's so much more to explore about unlocking your confidence and reshaping your life. Stay with me, because the next section explains exactly how this personal growth not only changes you, but shifts everything around you, especially how he sees you. Now let's get to the part everyone's curious about. What happens to him when you step back? When you stop texting first, stop initiating plans, stop being so readily available? The answer is simple yet powerful. He notices. At first, he might not. He's probably used to you being the one who bridges the gap, who makes the effort, who keeps the connection alive. But when you suddenly pull back, when your energy is no longer there to fill his space, a shift begins. It's like removing background music he never realized he was humming along to, and that silence is deafening. Here's the thing about people, especially men. They don't fully value what's always there. It's human nature to take things for granted until they're gone. And when you detach, you create a void. You stop being his emotional safety net, his reliable source of attention and validation. And trust me, that absence doesn't go unnoticed for long. He'll start to wonder why you haven't texted, whether he did something wrong, or if you've moved on. These questions, whether conscious or subconscious, will begin to surface. The irony is that by stepping back, you shift the dynamic entirely. You're not the one wondering if he'll come back. He's the one wondering how to re-enter your world now that you've established boundaries. But let's be clear. Detachment isn't about punishing him or teaching him a lesson. It's about giving him space to see what life is like without you constantly filling in the gaps. And for many men, that realization is a wake-up call. They start to miss the way you laughed at their jokes, the way you supported them, the way you made them feel. His response isn't immediate. At first, he might act like he doesn't care, scrolling through social media or hanging with friends, pretending your absence doesn't bother him. But deep down, a seed of doubt is planted. He wonders why you've changed, why your energy has shifted, and what that means for him. The beauty of detachment is that it creates a sense of mystery. And mystery, as any relationship expert will tell you, is a powerful tool of attraction. When you're no longer predictable or constantly available, you become intriguing. You become the woman who isn't chasing him, who has her own life, her own focus, her own glow, and that is irresistible. Imagine him opening his phone, scrolling through messages, seeing no texts from you, checking social media, seeing nothing from you. It starts to make him question, why isn't she reaching out? What's she up to? Who is she with? That curiosity, that sense of not knowing, is what draws him back. It makes him realize what he's missing. But whether he comes back or not isn't the point. The point is that you are no longer waiting for his reaction to determine your worth. Detachment has freed you to focus on yourself, and that's the true power shift. If he does reach out, it'll be because he recognizes what he lost. If he doesn't, you've saved yourself from a one-sided dynamic. So here's your takeaway. Don't fear creating space. Embrace it. Let him feel your absence. Let him wonder. It's in that absence that he'll begin to see your value. And whether he steps up or not, you've already won, because you've reclaimed your own energy and peace. There's a certain kind of magic that happens when you stop tying your worth to someone else's attention. It's subtle at first, like a whisper of clarity that grows louder with time. You start to realize that all the energy you poured into him, every late-night text, every overanalyzed conversation, every moment spent wondering, was energy you could have poured into yourself. And once that realization hits, everything shifts. For too long, we've been taught that a woman's value is measured by her ability to keep a man's interest. We're told that if we try harder, do more, and prove ourselves, we'll be chosen. But let me ask you, what kind of value is that? Is it truly your worth if it's defined by someone else? Of course not. Reclaiming your self-worth isn't about arrogance or pretending not to care. It's about understanding, at your core, that you are enough exactly as you are. It's about realizing you don't have to chase, beg, or earn anyone's love. True, lasting connection comes from mutual respect and appreciation, not from one person bending over backward while the other takes it for granted. When you stop basing your value on his responses, his texts, his compliments, his time, you free yourself from a cycle of insecurity. You quit seeking external validation and start finding it within. That shift is transformative. It changes how you carry yourself, how others perceive you, and how you perceive your own potential. A woman who knows her worth doesn't settle for breadcrumbs. She doesn't keep giving to someone who isn't reciprocating. She doesn't lose sleep over someone who doesn't see her value. She becomes selective, only allowing those who uplift and respect her to remain in her life. And men notice when a woman values herself that strongly. This isn't a quick fix. There will be moments of doubt. You'll wonder if you did the right thing in stepping back. You'll question if he'll just move on. But each time those fears arise, remind yourself, someone who truly treasures you will never make you doubt your worth. And if he does, he's not your person. Here's the beauty. Self-worth is self-fueling. The more you honor yourself, the more you'll realize you deserve. The more you realize you deserve, the less you'll tolerate being an option. And the less you tolerate being an option, the more you step into your power, unapologetically. If this resonates, hit the like button and drop a 1 in the comments to show you're ready to live with boundaries that command respect. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss more empowering insights like these. The journey is just getting started, and trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next. Let's keep building the life and relationships you truly deserve, one strong move at a time. While he's sitting there, wondering why your energy shifted, you're not waiting around. This is when you double down on yourself and your future, reinvesting every drop of energy you once spent chasing him back into you. Focusing on personal growth is more than just a way to pass the time. It's a way to reconnect with your own passions and purpose. Picture it. Instead of wondering about his next move, you're hitting the gym, working on career goals, or diving into that creative project you've always dreamed of. Every moment spent on your own growth strengthens your self-confidence, your presence, and your irresistibility, and not just to him, but to the whole world. Why does this work? Because men are inherently drawn to women who don't need their validation to feel whole. When you're living for your goals and ambitions, you radiate a sense of independence and purpose. You're not chasing him, you're chasing your best self. And here's the bigger payoff. In the process of leveling up, you realize you're no longer fretting over his texts or lack thereof. You're too busy building a life that excites you. The result? A natural scarcity that makes him wonder what you're up to. And that intrigue is pure gold in the psychology of attraction. But more importantly, you're fueling your own evolution. Personal growth changes the conversation from, does he like me? Do I like this path I'm on? You stop revolving around someone else's potential acceptance and start revolving around your own limitless potential. Scarcity is one of the most powerful forces in human psychology. People want what they can't easily have. When you detach, you create that sense of scarcity. You stop being always available, always texting first, always bending to his whims. And in doing so, you shift from being taken for granted to being someone he might lose, unless he acts. Think about how luxury items gain value. It's not just their quality, it's that they're not everywhere. Similarly, you become a rare gem when your energy isn't doled out freely to someone who hasn't earned it. You're no longer a default, you're a special privilege. The best part? You don't have to pretend or manipulate. Scarcity happens naturally when you focus on your own life. You genuinely become busy, engrossed in your goals, and careful about who gets your time. And that authenticity shines through. He'll notice you're not just ignoring him. You truly have a full, vibrant life. That's the essence of Stoicism. focusing on what you can control and letting go of the rest. Detachment leads to a remarkable transformation. You become the prize. Think about the old dynamic. Maybe you were the one who was always proving yourself, giving more than you received, or trying your hardest to keep his interest. You might have found yourself doing little favors unasked, changing your schedule to fit his, or constantly checking your phone to see if he reached out. Over time, that pattern can wear you down, making you feel you have to earn his attention rather than simply deserve it. But when you detach, truly detach, you stop trying to prove your value and start living it. This shift isn't about pretending you don't care or playing games. It's about focusing on who you are and how you want to feel, rather than anxiously awaiting his reactions. It means no longer allowing someone else's interest, or lack thereof, to dictate your sense of self-worth. By stepping back, you reframe the entire relationship dynamic. Instead of chasing him, you show that he is the one who needs to rise to meet your standards. Men, whether they admit it or not, are drawn to confidence and independence. It's not because they want a challenge for challenge's sake, but because self-assured individuals exhibit qualities linked to fulfillment, autonomy, and emotional stability. When you decide you won't settle for half-hearted effort, when you draw that line and refuse to engage in one-sided emotional labor, you're effectively communicating that being in your life is a privilege, not a right. This sets a clear boundary. If he wants to be part of your journey, he has to earn a place by showing up consistently, respectfully, and wholeheartedly. Here's the crucial part that often gets misunderstood. Being the prize isn't about toying with someone's emotions or making them chase you out of a manipulative power play. Instead, it's about knowing deep in your bones that you're enough, with or without him. It's understanding that if you have to beg for someone's devotion or chase after scraps of their attention, that bond isn't built on solid ground. True love doesn't stem from desperation. It grows from mutual respect and admiration. When you internalize this perspective, everything changes, including how you see yourself. You're no longer living at the mercy of his texts, calls, or shifting moods. You're choosing to live by your own standards, according to your own sense of worth. As a result, you radiate a self-possessed energy that makes men pause and take a second look. They sense there's something different about you. An ease, an unshakable confidence, an aura that says, "I know exactly who I am and what I deserve." That is the mindset that makes men do a double take, because it stands out in a world where many people still scramble for others' approval. That is the mindset that shifts power back into your hands, letting you decide which relationships truly serve you, rather than passively accepting whatever comes your way. It's not about being closed off or aloof. It's about being selective, intentional, and unwavering in your commitment to your own self-respect. Ultimately, detachment isn't an exercise in cruelty or coldness. It's a recentering of your life around your own aspirations, happiness, and emotional well-being. And ironically, by stepping into that position of strength, where you value and prioritize yourself, you often become infinitely more appealing to the right kind of person. You show that you're not merely waiting to be chosen, you're already choosing yourself. And in doing so, you invite genuine, lasting connections rooted in equality, respect, and genuine affection, rather than fear of loss or desperation for validation. Feeling inspired so far? Go ahead and hit like or comment number 1 below. Your responses help us keep creating content that empowers you, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't, because the final trait ties everything together, elevating every other quality we've discussed and leaving an unforgettable impact. Let's unlock it now. Eventually, there arrives a moment, a kind of reckoning, when he truly feels your absence. At first, he might shrug it off or distract himself with other things, telling himself he's perfectly fine. But gradually, as the days pass and there's no sign of you bridging the gap, it becomes harder and harder for him to ignore the emptiness you left behind. It isn't just about the missing texts or the lack of late-night conversations. It's about the unique presence you brought into his life. One he may have taken for granted until now. Because you were always there, so reliable, so giving, he never had to question his own behavior. There was no pressing need for him to assess whether he was reciprocating your energy or meeting your needs, because your consistent devotion lulled him into believing the dynamic would never change. But when you finally decided to stop overextending yourself, you sent a clear message that something had to shift. And once you pulled back, he had no choice but to live with the consequences of his choices. In your absence, he's confronted daily by small reminders of what he lost. Perhaps it's the laughter that no longer echoes in his apartment, the calm reassurance he no longer finds waiting in his inbox, or even just the sense that someone genuinely cared about his well-being. The silence where your texts used to be is no longer comforting or convenient. It's disconcerting. The more you flourish on your own, the more he's forced to reflect on the imbalance that existed between you two, an imbalance he might have dismissed in the moment. Here's the revelation he has to face. Nothing went wrong on your end. You simply woke up to the reality that you deserved a balanced, respectful, and truly nurturing connection. By refusing to give more than you received, you broke the cycle of one-sided effort. You released yourself from being the only one carrying the emotional weight. You chose to focus on your own priorities and stop pouring energy into someone who wasn't ready or willing to meet you halfway. Suddenly, he realizes that you were never the one at a loss. He was. He may struggle with regret or regret how he handled things, realizing too late that genuine reciprocity and appreciation were all you ever needed from him. Now, the gravity of his decisions or half-heartedness in the relationship comes crashing down. Whether he steps up and tries to re-enter your world is no longer your chief concern, because in the meantime, you've moved forward with poise and without regrets. You're living proof that when you finally withdraw from a draining dynamic, the only direction to go is up, back into your own power and self-worth. Ladies, detachment isn't about punishing him, nor is it about playing hard to get. It's about reclaiming your worth. It's about recognizing that you're not defined by how much effort you invest in someone who isn't responding in kind. It's about letting go of the fear that you'll lose him if you don't keep proving yourself, and discovering that you actually gain so much more: your peace, your confidence, yourself. When you detach, you shift the dynamic. You show him and yourself that you're not desperate for anyone's validation. You learn the power of scarcity, making your presence a privilege rather than a default. You focus on personal growth, investing in your passions and your future. As you do, you naturally become the prize, the one who doesn't chase but is chased. And finally, you let him experience the absence of your energy. Whether he comes back or not is secondary. The real win is how you learn to stand tall in your own life. In doing so, you unlock a stoic strength that allows you to face relationships and everything else with a calm sense of self-worth. That's the essence of detachment. Not losing him, but finding you. As you venture forward, remember you're never alone. There's a community and a wealth of knowledge here to support and guide you. If this exploration has sparked new insights, Let us know. We want to celebrate your progress, hear your thoughts, and share in your ongoing evolution. You've got this. See you in the next video.